fellow travelers, Mark here with Wolters World, and today we're in Helsinki, Finland, the capital of Finland, and today we're going to talk about are some of the don'ts that tourists need to know not to do when they do come here to Helsinki, because this city is gorgeous. And the first thing I got to tell you is don't be surprised by all the incredible modern architecture and just architecture and design in general you will find in Helsinki. I mean, this is one of the homes of design in the world, and you will see that when you go around the city. Whether you're going to the Chapel of Silence, the Rock Church, you're going to see some of the fantastic museums here like the Kiasma. I mean, just design is part of Helsinki, and when you're here, you feel that. And yes, you have the more traditional, like train station kind of stuff and European pomp and circumstance buildings, but then you have the modern side of things, which is just gorgeous. So whether you're going by the Finlandia Hall or wherever, you will see incredible architecture when you are here, incredible design, and you really have to take that in when you're here, because it's truly an essence of the city. So the second don't I have for you when you come here to Helsinki is don't worry about getting around. The public transportation system here is super efficient and will get you everywhere you want to go. So whether it's a bus or a tram, you'll be set up when you're here. But honestly, the best transportation mode that you're going to use when you're here in Helsinki are your 2 feet, because walking between, the Upinski Cathedral and the Helsinki Cathedral and the Kauppatouri Square and the Esplanade and here downtown, it's just all walking. I mean, it's very easy to do, and it's nice and flat. And even if you're coming here in the wintertime, they clean it off so you can walk everywhere. You can ride your bike everywhere. And that's what's fantastic about it. So it's super easy to get around because it's so kind of compact and easy to do that you really shouldn't stay on a boat if you're here on your cruise or you're thinking about your, it's a cold day in November. It's still easy to go see a lot of stuff that's here. And the summertime, oh my goodness. Don't think the fun stops in summer, because the sun doesn't stop in summer. I mean, you have, days where the sun goes till 10, 11, it seems like midnight. Sometimes the sun is still out here in the summertime, and you can really enjoy that. So this city gives you in the summer a wide opportunity to go and explore and enjoy, so you're not limited to just normal 9 to 5 hours to enjoy the city with that architecture, design, and buildings, okay? Now, when you are walking around, one thing I gotta say is don't pass up a chance to have a cinnamon roll or a korvapusti, because honestly, here in Helsinki, or in Finland in general, their cinnamon rolls are fantastic, and they love them here, and they love their coffee. So if you want to sit out on the Esplanade downtown, oh my God, the Esplanade, it's just this, tree-lined walkway with cafes and music playing and just all kinds of great stuff. Stop and enjoy that. You have to have a korvapusti, the cinnamon rolls when you're here. My youngest son told me, Dad, you're going back to Helsinki. You have to have one for me. Liam, I had one for you, buddy. Love you, man. But that's one thing that tourists can really do, is the outdoor cafes and stuff that you can really enjoy here in Helsinki in the summertime is wonderful. So get out there and explore and walk around and all these things. Now, one of the things my wife always talks about when she comes here to Finland, she's like, oh, I'm going to see the Northern Lights. And I want to tell you, if you're coming to Helsinki, don't really expect to see the Northern Lights. I mean, if you want to see the Northern Lights, you want to come here in the wintertime and go a little bit farther north, and then you definitely will see them. But here in Helsinki, that's not really going to be a thing. Just to let you know, it could happen, but most of the time that's not something that tourists will get, and that's going to be something you're going to do in the winter. And I will say one thing, if you're going to come, summer is the best time to come. I mean, honestly, even spring, like, you can still have snow in April here, but like early May through early September is a great time to come, but don't come in November. I mean, November is like the most dreary and depressing month of the year here in Finland, and Helsinki's no different with that. Like, November is nice because then the lights come out at Christmas time and it's gorgeous, but November is just cold, wet, dark. I mean, it's like, 3:30 in the afternoon, it's already dark. You're like, ugh. So maybe avoid that time of the year to come. But whenever you're gonna come, even if it's in November, one thing you have to see is don't skip out on the Suomenlinnan Castle, okay, or fortress. Basically, if you go down the Kauppatouri, remember that Esplanade I talked about? You go to the end of that, there's a Kauppatouri there, a market square you can go to. And what's cool is people be selling foods and crafts that are there. My mom always picks up cool stuff when she's here and goes there. The kids and I, we go eat down there. But there's ferries like every 10 to 20 minutes in the summertime and all year round that goes out to this fortress, and it's spread out over a few islands. If you're here in the summertime, take your bathing suit with you, or don't, and go hang out there. I mean, it's a really cool thing to go check out. It's probably the biggest side of the city that people do, but it is a really nice thing. And when you're taking that ferry and you're down by the Kauppatouri, you might look up and see a church and go, wait a minute, are we in Russia? Look, I'm going to tell you this right now. If you're in Helsinki, don't ask if they're Russian. Don't ask if they speak Russian. Don't make any association with Finland and Russia. Though they neighbor each other, there was a war they fought to not be part of Russia, okay? And so that is kind of one of those things you don't deal with. But when you look up and see that red dome church up there, you go, wait a minute. And I want to tell you this, don't skip out on the Helsinki Cathedral. That is the Russian Orthodox church that's up on a rocky outcropping. You go in there, it is gorgeous with the icons and everything. Like, you really want to see that. But don't let that make you think that this is a Russia kind of place, all right? Because it's not. Finland and Helsinki is its own thing. And when you are here, you will notice that Helsinki is very much an international city and people speak English all over the place, so you're not gonna have a problem because I'm gonna tell you, don't expect to understand Finnish. I mean, to give you an idea how difficult Finnish is, they don't have prepositions, okay? You don't say I'm going to Turku or I'm from Turku or I'm in Turku. You say, I'm in Turku, it's like Turussa. It's Turkus, Turun, like it's an ending. It's so complicated, but just know if you say like kiitos, which is thank you, or Minä haluan, which is I want, and you point, people will smile and go, oh, you silly tourist, and they'll be so happy about it. But yeah, don't think you're gonna know any Finnish when you're here. It's just one of those things, and yes, there are a lot of vowels like linked together here, so just be ready for that. And don't think it has anything to do with Russian, because it doesn't. It's a Finnish is a Finno-Ugaric language. It's its own thing. And one of those things that's really Finnish when you're here is sauna. First off, don't call it sauna, it's sauna. It's from here in Finland, but don't think just because you're in a big city like Helsinki, you have to miss out on sauna, because your hotel, it has one. Your apartment rental, there's probably one in the apartment or in the building, or there's actually public saunas you can go to. And yes, you go au natural, and there's nothing sexual about it, and you do go with just guys or just girls, okay? So you have that, but it is one of those experiences that you have to have when you're in Finland. So please hit the sauna, all right? And don't be silly about it. Now, another thing I think is important when you're walking around, you'll notice there's a lot of international restaurants here. And I'm gonna tell you this, don't let the locals talk you out of eating Finnish food, because the Finnish people don't always talk up their food very much. I mean, there's kind of a reason why we don't see a lot of Finnish restaurants around the world, but there is some really good food here. Even if you get a Karelian pie, which is like this little rye bread pie thing that's filled with like a rice porridge kind of stuff that's like buttery, eggy stuff on top. It's fantastic. You have great salmon here. The meatballs, even if it's not reindeer meatballs, you get normal meatballs too with some mashed potatoes and lingonberry jam. I mean, there's a lot of really good Finnish food here, but you kind of have to search for it. So don't expect to find it because the locals aren't going to push on it, but you should try it. And even if you can only grab some Hesburger at the train station when you're heading out, I know it's a fast food thing, but I love the paprika mayonnaise, the little like the dipping mayonnaise they have there. It's fantastic, but have the Finnish food you're here, okay? Because it is worth it, but don't let the locals talk you out of it. Now, another thing you're gonna see, when you see postcards of Helsinki, you see Helsinki Cathedral. It's on Senate Square, and there's this big, huge white cathedral with a green dome, and it's super impressive. And that, I mean, we filmed a lot of videos here a few years ago in Finland because it's such a great picture. But I will tell you this, don't expect it to be super impressive when you go inside as it is from the outside, especially if you're coming to Helsinki Cathedral, which got all the icons because the Orthodox Church does that. When you go in there, remember, Finland is a Protestant nation, so inside it's Protestant, so it's very stark, very white, and it's very impressive, but it doesn't have a lot of stuff in there, okay? So if you're thinking, man, that's a lot of stairs to go up there, or you got bad knees, just know, we got videos inside, you can see that, but just be realizing those things. And I think another thing that's really important is if you're going to be coming here, one of the churches to see is the church, the Rock Church, which is, it's hewn into like the side of a hill kind of thing, and the roof looks like it's hovering over top of it, and it's one of those incredible design structures here in Helsinki, and you can go see there, and don't think that the Rock Church is some kind of new age crazy thing. No, it's a normal church that has really cool concerts too. Now, one of the things I love about coming to Helsinki, and people don't really think about because they think, oh, I'm gonna see the churches and I'm gonna walk around taking the architectures. There's actually really cool museums when you're here, so don't forget about the museums. My favorite is the Kasma, which is a museum of modern art, contemporary art. It's actually just right over there. I've been going to that since I lived here in the 90s. Probably if you are not big into modern art or contemporary art, go there because they have a really great job. They do a really great job of kind of explaining the pieces, but also displaying them really creatively. So definitely go there. Even if you're with your kids, the kids really enjoyed that kind of the modern, museum kind of feel to it. And it's just a gorgeous building too. So you have that. You've got the National Museum of Finland you can go check out to learn about the history of Suomi, Finland, right? When you're here, there's a design museum here in Helsinki. I mean, of course there is, it's Helsinki. But if you're any kind of design person, whether you're architecture, interior design, clothing, whatever, you should go check out the design museum because you really see that influence in South there, because Finland's not a huge country, but it's had a huge impact on design. I mean, if you ever go to St. Louis, you see the St. Louis Arch, that was designed by a Finn. Now, another great thing about coming here to Finland, and I've come here with my friends and I've come here with my family here, is you don't have to worry about your safety. Helsinki is a super safe city, one of the safest cities and capitals in Europe. When you come here, you don't really worry. Like, I'm not like staring at my bag 99% of the time when I'm here, which is really nice, so you can go out and enjoy yourself. But I will say this, don't forget to pay attention on late nights, Friday and Saturday nights, in case people had too many drinks. I mean, that's the only thing, but isn't that pretty much every city and town in the world? Okay, but that's like the only kind of safety thing when you have. Another thing I would say is if you're looking to go around, I said, you know, don't worry about public transportation. They got plenty of that. But if you're looking at taxis and Ubers, don't worry. It's easier to get a taxi sometimes than Ubers when you are here. They'll take you anywhere. They're usually professional. It's not cheap, okay? The taxis aren't super cheap. And I think in general, don't expect Helsinki to be cheap, okay? Helsinki is not a budget destination for travelers. Now, you can stay at hostels and go to like Arkioski and pick up some snacks, but it's not a super cheap place to go. I mean, you can enjoy things for free, like the architecture and design, but yeah, don't expect this to be a great budget destination. Now, if you go to other parts of Finland, it's significantly cheaper, or I would say less expensive, but Helsinki, yeah, it's not gonna be one of your cheaper destinations. Now, it's not Switzerland or Norway prices, but I just wanna give you the heads up. And I guess one thing I guess you'd save kind of a little bit of money is you don't have to tip when you're here in Helsinki. They're paid a good wage, so you just pay the bill that's there. I mean, you can leave tips, no problem, but you don't have to. Now, another thing I think is very important, you've noticed, like we had some background music because there's literally a festival starting right over there for me, and you don't really notice that much. And I'm gonna tell you this, don't be loud in Helsinki. Whether you're on public transportation, you're going out to eat, you're walking around, the Finns are very chill, and they like everything to be chill and quiet. So if you're loud, don't be surprised if someone gives you a look or someone tells you, hey, you need to quiet down, because this is not a loud place. This is a chill out kind of place, okay? So just be aware of that when you're here. And I think another couple really cool things to think about in terms of don'ts is, one, don't miss this out as a layover. I know for us, we flew through here a few times going to China, and we actually used it as a layover because we had like a day between flights, or what was it? One was like 14 hours, one was like 17 hours before. So we just got a hotel, stayed here and explored the city because it's so walkable. You can really see a lot just in a layover. And sometimes some of the airlines will actually give you that layover time so you can experience a bit of Helsinki before you get the flight. And hey, you know what? Don't worry about getting in from the airport. It's super easy. There's trains that come into here in the station. There's buses that come in. You can get a taxi, and it's not really that expensive coming into the city, and you can come and explore it. And the traffic isn't bad here, so you're not worried about missing that connection. So don't forget that you can come here for a layover and enjoy some of the stuff and grab that cinnamon roll and the good coffee when you're here. Another don't I have for you when you're in Helsinki is, don't forget you can actually rent bikes when you're here, and they're really cheap, like €5 a day, 10 euros for a week. I mean, it's next to nothing. And they have lots of bike paths around the city. So there's a bike path right there. You can go around, and it's super cheap, super nice. And what's cool is that the bike paths and the bikes and the cars and the pedestrians all kind of work together versus fighting each other, which is really nice. And I think probably the best day trip you're gonna do from here is, don't forget that you can go to another country very easily from here, because actually you can actually take a ferry over to Tallinn, Estonia, one of the coolest cities in Europe. I mean, I love Tallinn. It is awesome. I used to work there. Well worth visiting with the churches that are there and the whole setup. And Tallinn is all about tourism, and it's all about getting the Finnish tourists to come there and eat and drink and make merry. And it's super cheap compared to Helsinki. Compared to the Baltics, no, it's expensive, but compared to Helsinki, Tallinn's really affordable. So don't forget that you could just do a little, hour and a half, 2 hour ferry over there, go spend the day in Tallinn, and then come back, and you got yourself another country too to go with this fantastic city. All right, so I hope this helps you know some of the don'ts, or actually mostly do's, when you come here in Helsinki. What are some of your don'ts about visiting Helsinki? Let us know in the comment section below so other travelers can have more fun here in the capital of Finland, because I know I love my time living here in Finland, and we used to come to Helsinki quite often. We always had a good time. So anyway, I wish you all the best. I'll say moi moi from here in Helsinki.